All right. Welcome to the EXP Monthly podcast. I'm Filbert and I'm with Blue. Then you see that who I be and Shadow 815X. And we are covering a little bit late into February, but still getting to it. Bioshock, which was our game for January 2016. And how are you doing, KP Senti? An accidental pirate. Good to see you guys in chat. So I guess like we usually do, we can kind of go around the room, kind of talk about if you played Bioshock before, just and if you have kind of your history with it, if it's a game you really like, or you haven't played it since it came out, and then what platform you played it on, and just anything else you top level you want to share about it. So to start off, this was my first time playing Bioshock. It's one of those games when it came out, I heard so much of the praise it got. And it had always kind of been in my backlog, but I just never got to it. And when I played it this time, I played it through Steam on the remastered version. And I think I beat it probably in about 10 hours, but save kind of my thoughts on it for further. But Blue, if you want to go next.
Sure. So I played Bioshock when it came out originally. I played it the first time around on the Xbox 360. Those were the controller era days. Although I guess I still have a stack of controllers over here that I use anyway. I also played on remaster, but I played on keyboard mouse this time through. And on normal difficulty. I think when I first played this game, I played it through on hard mode, and I remember it taking a lot longer because it was actually significantly harder. Part of that was probably also because I had never played before and kind of didn't know exactly how the game was going.
So did you play it in hard mode again this time?
No, I played on normal just to see how it compared, and it was significantly easier this run for me than what I remember.
So yeah, I guess to add that to if you want to add what you played it. So I started on hard and probably at about 3 hours in switched it to normal just because
Interesting.
specifically the Big Daddy fights were just a chore.
Brutal.
I imagine
Yeah.
later in the game they wouldn't be as bad once you had more weapons because especially like when you only have like the machine gun and the shotgun, like I would run out of ammo and then I'm just trying to like lightning bolt and what I was just like, we're just going to normal.
Yeah.
Vinny, how about you go next?
All right, if I must. No, I originally played it when it came out. Back then, I was kind of just buying every FPS when it came out. That was just kind of what I did, and it was always fun to see the latest, greatest graphics on whatever video card was out at the time. I don't remember what it was, but it was definitely a very different FPS than other ones I had played up to that point. I'm sure when I originally played it, I just probably did normal difficulty. And I know when Remastered came out, I had started a run on hard and I never finished it because, like, it was. I feel like it. Not only does it make them into bullet sponges, but it like decreases your ammo pickups and everything. I just feel like there's less resources. So for this time, I kind of went the easier route because I wanted to, get through the game in the limited playtime that I have. So this time I don't think I did easy. It might have been normal. I don't remember, but yeah.
And Shadow?
Well, I played the PlayStation 3 version. I played on normal. I have experience with this game. I'm looking at my trophies and I see I started it in 2015 and I got one trophy. And the next trophy is like 2018. I'm not sure what's happened there. I'm old. Excuse my memory, but I really liked it the first time. I platinum it, so I played it on hard and turned off Vita chambers, which is your like after you die, that's your checkpoint without reloading a save. If you don't know, so I just did a vanilla normal mode and really had a blast playing this for a second time.
So when the so Bioshock was a game when it first kicked off, and I'm kind of it's kind of funny when I sound blue this, not to get too quick into spoilers. So, and obviously major spoilers for the entire game. But game starts off, you're on a plane, crashes into the ocean, and you go into this giant spear that just happens to be there and go down in this like submarine thing. And so I started playing it. I played through like the first hour, and I remember I was talking to Blue a little bit, and I tried not to talk about like the games I'm playing in EXP Monthly that month with other people. I try to save it for the podcast, but I remember telling Blue, I was like, man, the intro of that game felt so 2000, like mid 2000s video game intro, and it just definitely felt like you're playing a video game. And when I finally did beat it this weekend, it's just like it makes a lot more sense why it feels like a video game intro. So I have to give the game some credit for that. But for me, with it being a first-person shooter, and not playing it before, I wasn't sure what to expect because I knew it was a shooter. I knew this was a game where you had powers and you kind of swap back and forth. The big thing I noticed, which it did get a little bit better, like once you got like the shotgun, but one of the things that was the hardest for me to get over with the game is I felt for a shooter, the weapons and guns did not have weight. Like, and a lot of I kind of picked up a little how to tell when enemies were dying as I played, but when you'd shoot enemies, half the time I was like, I don't even know if they're dead yet because they would like, there just wasn't like that impact. And I know for that was like the thing that stood out the most. And as I started to play the game, I was kind of interested in how the powers were gonna work, and I've really made sure I was like trying to test different powers, but I kind of really kind of stuck to 2 at any given time. But how does everyone else feel before we go into like the story about just kind of the main gunplay and using the powers, how they felt?
I would like to rewind a bit when the opening. Even on the PlayStation 3 in 2026, that water looks incredible. The lighting, the waves. I don't know what time travel shenanigans those people did, but man, that looks very good, and I was very impressed. And the whole cinematic, which is on screen now, where you just go down the elevator and looking at the rapture. It's a very good intro, I will say, even though it feels a bit video gamey with the plane crash and all that.
Yeah, and I guess to kind of expand what I mean by that too, it like I just remember it's like, which I was wondering if there's gonna be more to it, like if the plane was like guided there or something. But it's just like you just happen to crash in the middle of the Atlantic. There's this spear next to you. I remember Sound Blue is like, if I crashed, the first thing, if I seen just tower with the submarine, I would not be going down that. I'd be sitting out It's like the fact that like the character just accepts like this is my life now. I'm going into sub drain. Once you're down there, you're kind of stuck. But I just thought it was funny. And then like when you first see the, I forget what the vending machine's called, the atom vending machine, and you just like immediately like stick yourself and inject yourself. I'm just like, what is wrong with this guy? It would not just be.
Ooh, is that free heroin? I see there. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, but to answer a question with gunplay, I will feel it's a bit outdated, and especially on console, had to press R3 to aim, and I feel
Ooh,
like
that's-
that takes so much time, so it feels better to just shoot from the hip, and it was inaccurate
Wait.
as you would expect, but
So when you say R3 to aim, does it go iron sights?
yeah, like pretty regular aiming in other games.
So I wonder if they just got rid of that in the because in the remaster I was only hip firing.
Oh,
Were any of you guys using iron sights or aiming? Because on PC, if you right click, which is normally what you do to aim, that's how you switch your powers.
Plasmids, yeah.
Or
I did
back-
not. I think there was a keybind for it. I think it was like V
Yeah.
or something. And I remember I used it like 3 times, and I was like, "No, this is very clunky, and I'm not using it anymore." And I just was firing
I
from
did
hip rest.
not even know it was a option.
yeah, it didn't felt good at all, so I just shoot from the hip. And luckily, the abilities, you have a good range at those, so those did wonders. Like the electricity and the bees. Not the bees.
That is, yeah. Every time I seen the bees, that's all I thought about. They're in my eyes.
Yeah,
So-
what about you, Vinny? I think you're
Sorry,
right.
I'm
Might be-
reading KP's chat over here, correcting his many
Holiness.
fallacies. No, I mean they clearly want you to be using the plasmid powers over. I mean the guns work, but the wow factor is supposed to be the special abilities. But I do get what you're saying. Like I mostly used the shotgun. Like the machine gun had a lot of kickback, and it was like hard to just like knock out an enemy with it. You could land a few hits, but it's kind of kicking back too much. The grenade launcher, or was it RPG?
It could do both.
Yeah, it's a-
Grenade launcher, yeah.
Yeah.
What was grenade?
Yeah,
and
the
it could shoot
alternate,
rockets.
alternate ammo, yeah.
I mean,
The
I felt that
rockets.
one hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
And the
Mines.
the
and
proximity
homing.
mines were cool.
Yeah, those are good for the big daddies. For me, so I know, kind of going through the guns, the pistol I thought was decent. I felt like the machine gun and the pistol, you really had to rely on the alternative ammo, the anti-personnel or the armor piercing. Those were very effective. And I've kind of forgot how effective anti-personnel was until like end game. I started using it, especially with the machine gun. And when I got like the upgrade on the machine gun that decreased the recoil, which made it so much better. But you kill people like, I don't know the numbers. It felt like it's like 4 times the damage if you shot someone with an anti-personnel, or like you could take out a turret like super fast with anti-armor. I did also like the crossbow you get like towards the end of the game, just because it like one-shots a ton of stuff, a lot of enemies. Again, I wasn't a big fan of the machine gun. The shotgun was probably my favorite, the most satisfying to use.
I
Another
think my biggest complaint was the I like the different ammo types. I don't like that when you run out of one, it doesn't just switch to the next. I hate that you gotta like quick remember the keybind to switch to what, I don't care what ammo's next. Just pick one.
Yep. That
Pick one and fire it.
what I didn't like, what was frustrating to me was I would sometimes be like, all right, I know I have all 3 ammo types on the machine gun. I don't know how much anti-armor I have until I switch to it. You could hold shift on keyboard and it would like open up a menu thing and then you could see the numbers, but that was just clanky. I just wish it had the amount of ammo for the ammo types like when you're on the gun, not just the current ammo you have loaded. Because I would constantly be like, oh, I have anti-armor pistol rounds, and switch to it. I'm like, oh, I have 2.
Yeah,
And-
the menus in general probably needed a refresh. I know it's the remaster, but it's like they were noticeably
Yeah.
like not great, and some of them were just broken for me. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there were some that were just not working.
Well, I know the remaster
think I
for
encountered
PC
any-
was really
Yeah.
broken at launch. I didn't
Oh.
run into a ton of issues. I ran into like one lighting issue. I just had to turn VSync on. But if there were broken menus, I didn't notice them when playing, at least on my run.
Didn't
Yeah, I
see any
can't say I
broken menus.
experienced that either.
Yeah, I know.
I did encounter a bug specifically at kind of the midpoint of the game where Sander Cohen shows up, and it just glitched and wouldn't spawn, and I couldn't. He locks you in an area, right, and you can't leave, and I was just stuck in there, and I didn't know what was happening because I didn't remember it from before. So yeah, there's a part where he just like locks all the doors, and like it's supposed to spawn like a bunch of waves of enemies for you to fight. It just like didn't spawn anybody. So I was just in the empty like hall, just wandering around, being like, what's happening? I can't go anywhere. Everything's locked. I remember spending a lot of time walking around, being like, am I just forgetting something? How does this work? How am I supposed to go somewhere and do something really specific? I wandered around for like 20 minutes, and then eventually I was like, all right, I think something's just broken, and I reloaded, and then it immediately worked, and I was like, well, if I would have reloaded earlier, then it would have been fine. But there were some jankiness, but not like that was that one thing I think was the only technical glitch I encountered.
Yeah.
I would say I feel like I had it too, but my memory, it's been 1 month. I don't remember.
Yeah, because you
I
knocked
didn't
this
write
out right
it down.
away.
Yeah, I was shocked by how short this game is. Like, I think I did a half of the game in one sitting. So I was like, no, I'm starting this game. I'm probably gonna be finished by February. But like 2 days later, oh, that was it.
And to speak on that, too, I talked about this a little bit in the pregame video and write-up I did, but when this game came out, because this was it wasn't a launch, but it was early Xbox 360 game, if I remember correctly.
2007.
So I remember going to like a local game store, and it was like a mom and pop one, and the owner telling me about like, he's like, I just finished Bioshock. And I remember thinking like how cool it was, because it's kind of, especially early 360, like when a big game like this came out, everyone was talking about it. And I remember he's just like, yeah, I beat it, and he's like, it's like a 10-hour game, and he's like, that is like a perfect length for me. And I remember as soon as he said that, I was just like, well, I'm not buying that game, because at the time I would have been like 17, and replayability and hours in a game were like so important, because when I'm 17, it's like I'm not getting games that often. And that was part of the reason I don't think I ever picked it up at that time, because it's just like only 10 hours in a game, like you're getting ripped off. But now at this stage, I love games that are less than 10 hours. It's like I eat that stuff. I'm so happy when a game is like, I can just beat this over a nice weekend. like perfect.
Mhm.
So it's funny for how
So,
that changed for me.
so with that story, do you think you would have played this game if it wasn't for EXP Monthly?
I want to say eventually, it's one of those games like I always have meant to play, but I just never did. And then uh, I know I never beat it. I think I played it in college. I probably pirated it because I didn't have money at the time. Bioshock Infinite. Uh, I know I played about half of that. But I wasn't like anti this game for any reason. But EXP Monthly, it's like, all right, I have a reason to play it now, not keep kicking it down the kicking the can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, do we want to keep focusing on gameplay aspects or kind of go over the narrative?
Is there much to say about the gameplay? Like, it's very
I mean, there's
typical.
different.
I have a lot I could say about the gameplay. So I got
Go for it.
all right. We'll keep hang on kind of gameplay here a bit. So like I was saying, I think a lot of the weapons are cool, but I, like Vinny is saying, I didn't like the switching and the constant like having to reload when you ran out of ammo to different ammo types with an automatic, not knowing the ammo amounts. Another aspect of the game I wanted to like, and overall I enjoyed this game. I just think a lot of these complaints I don't think I would have had when I was like 17, but kind of now at this stage of my life, I think part of it is the game hasn't aged the best. Like some stuff has just got more involved with the shooter, and some of it's just my preferences have changed. But I wanted to like the hacking, but I hated it. I hated how often you had to do it. I hated how you'd get to these like hard hacking modules where, and I'll see if I can't find one real quick in the right. I'm trying to find one in the video
Well,
playing. But you'd
Yeah,
have like
figured we'd be divided on this.
you have like the two pipes that start and that starts to flow real quick, and you're trying to just click everything you can, and then you start moving stuff, and then you just find out you're completely trapped because you didn't go like the other way right off the start. And I'm just like, this is like stupid. Like it would piss me off so often. So I was always building those like auto hack devices and just using those. Unless if it was like all the way and easy, it's like I didn't even want to mess with it. How did everyone else feel about that?
I hacked everything. Like every safe, every bot that was flying around. I just got a rhythm going, and I don't know, I could fly through it. But like, I totally get what you're saying. Maybe I had the right plasmids equipped or something, but I made a point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I didn't mind the hacking at the start, and the game definitely does a thing where it doesn't really tell you, but at some point it starts making all of the hacking stuff way harder. So like, I started out and I equipped I guess they're just plasmids of a different sort that like make the water flow slower and all that. And I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm just gonna be coasting through all of these hacking mini games. But yeah, as you said, eventually it gets to the point where there's one path and the water flows fast, even with the plasmids, where you have to like, play cookie clicker to reveal all the tiles before you can figure out which way to even go. So that definitely got tedious, and I feel like it just wore out its welcome eventually.
So
like halfway through the game, basically.
Specifically, it was like the last third of the game. Anytime you would hack something that was hard, that was like almost everything. I have it paused on screen. There's one, and I don't know if this was just for me or if this is for just how the game is, but the water would flow at the top and go down, and the first two would be a pipe going down to the left and then up. And almost all the time, the two below it would be the ones that would like trigger the hacking to fail. So it's like you had to uncover super fast and hope the first route you sent it wasn't a dead end. And what would always happen would be I would go one route and then it would be a dead end. And I'm like, so it's like a complete guess. The one thing I did like was if you just redid it, it would generally, I think it was always the same block areas. The pipes would be like different. So it's like, all right, if I knew that way was that I can just redo it and go the other way. But and yeah, I might not have had any plasmoids to help. And yeah, for anyone listening, the plasmoids were like the basically like perks. You had a variety of them. There's like combat one. I forget how many types. There's like 4 or 5 types.
I think there was 3. It was combat, it was hacking, and I don't remember the last one.
I think it was just like physical. Yeah.
Yeah, physical.
Yeah. I,
But
for
yeah.
one, is a team hacker with the Winnie. I really liked hacking like everything I came across until I will say around at the last couple of levels. Then it started to get a bit too much. Like it's getting a bit hard and it's so much repetitive. So I sometimes just skipped, but really ran for to hack turrets and bots. Those are very useful.
Yep. And
yeah, the turrets and the cameras, like if you hack the cameras, because anytime you see a room with like 2 turrets in it, well, so if you hack the cameras, it detects enemies and sends bots after them. So like you automatically get the bots on your side just from them walking past the cameras. So if it's an area that's clearly like, okay, this is an area where there's going to be a couple waves of enemies sent at you, like I really made a point to like hack every turret and camera before, triggering the first wave, because then they do all the work.
Yeah, I think I just destroyed every camera I came across, except in the one play. There's a point in the game where it takes all your weapons away, and that was like the only time I hacked the cameras because I was like, I have nothing. And then it spawns the bots and kind of clears that room for you. But
yeah, it's constantly taking the cameras out. I don't think I ever hacked them, but I was hacking the bots a lot of the times because they were super useful, even though sometimes they'll shoot you trying to shoot the enemy, like when they'll swarm a room. The other thing, this was what I was going to say earlier. So I don't know how it was for you, Shadow, and Controller and the original, but it drove me nuts that to switch weapons on PC, you scroll the mouse wheel. So your gun was 1, your wrench was 2, your machine gun's 3, so on. When you scroll down on the mouse and you're on the machine gun, instead of going to number 2, it goes to number 4. The scrolling was inverse, and there's no way to change it, and it drove me nuts. Because then, so I was always just having to just roll through all my weapons to get what I wanted. But when you scroll, it would scroll the opposite number, the opposite way of the number you're going for. I don't know if anyone else noticed that or it affected them at all, but it was screwing me up so much in the beginning of the game. I'd be like on the machine gun and be like, all right, you need to go to the shotgun because I know I have like electro rounds in it, and then I would switch and then on the wrench. And
it's not what you need.
I think it was just holding R2 for weapons and L2 for plasmoids.
Did it bring up a wheel that you just picked?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had no issue controlling that. It was smooth. But your issue sounds like a nightmare. It's like you're playing like retro games and the camera is like inverted.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think I was mostly hitting the number keys.
I don't
Maybe.
generally use the mouse wheel to do weapon switch. For what that's worth, I didn't really notice it.
Yeah. It varies on the games for me. I wasn't using the number keys because I would sometimes, but it's just sometimes awkward to get to like 6 and 7. Oh yeah. Oh, we lost Vinny. He left. But
You
yeah,
should
that
be
was
ashamed.
something else that was driving me nuts. I will say this is kind of on gameplay. I thought that the level design was fantastic. They did a really good job of making you have like an area to kind of explore and run around. At least for me, I never felt like I got lost. Like they'll have a couple little branching spots. Sometimes you'd kind of get blocked off and like, oh, this was a spot you're gonna just come back later for the main story. But there's always a couple like little nooks and crannies you could find and get more ammo and rewards. And it also, a lot of the levels were laid out in like fun ways. When if there were like waves of enemies or a big gaddy, it was like the right amount of being able to like run, find cover, jump up. Sometimes there's multiple levels you could go up and down, jump around, and it did make the combat feel significantly more interesting than I think a lot of shooters of this era, where more often than not they're just like essentially a hallway you're just going down and just shooting through.
Yeah, the level design, I think they did a really good job combining level design and like level theme. Obviously, the game is super stylistic. All the architecture is super focused on the sort of Art Deco style that it is shooting for. So I think they did a really good job blending those together. The other thing, this isn't necessarily level design per se, but there was a ton of voice acting throughout the entirety of this game. There was, Atlas constantly talking to you. There were the pickup little, radio recordings. Yeah. Now there's multiple characters that are talking to you at various different points. I feel like it blends super well. It doesn't really pull you out of, where you're at. Because it's done and the voice acting is so good. So I feel like that added a ton to the immersion of the game, just in addition to just the level and art design.
And I like that too, because it lets you play the game still and get the lore and the story. It doesn't stop it. The one thing I didn't like was there's multiple times Atlas would be talking to me and then I would find voice recorders. Oh, and then I would have to make sure I pause it, go back and listen to it if I wanted to listen to it. Or I would be listening to the voice recorder and then I'll trigger Atlas or one of the characters to talk and it would stop the voice recorder. So there's a lot. I did find it was stepping over itself quite often, because it wasn't super uncommon for me to be halfway through listen to a tape and come across another one, or I would trigger something in the story and it would override the tape I was listening to. It wasn't all the time, but it was enough for me to notice and have to pause and go through the menu system to try and find like, all right, what was the tape I was just listening to?
You know what?
Yeah.
It's funny that these characters they didn't just leave a tape with their voice recorded on it. Like every time there's an entire recorder. Apparently these things were very disposable down there. I just thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, like I would pick one up and I'd end up kind of just walking around that small area, just picking up ammo, kind of waiting for it to finish. Because it was interesting. I wanted to hear it, but it's like I didn't want to, like you said, trigger some other voiceover that disrupted it. And then I missed both.
I don't know if they fixed this in the remaster, but I feel like those recording, well, it was a bit crusty to listen to, so I didn't get all what they were saying.
They were mostly clear, and then I almost in all games and movies I always play subtitles on. So I also had subtitles on so I could read along as I was listening, unless if I was like in the middle of combat.
Yeah, I tried to stick with the subtitles, but then splicers comes, and then you have to focus on another part of the screen, so I didn't get everything, but that's fine. I can also briefly touch on what I think about the level design. I think it's fantastic. Very good design up till one crucial part in the story. After that, I think the level design is actually going downhill, and I didn't have so much fun with after that part of the story. I don't know if we're going to that territory.
Yeah.
Since it's a big story. Or big story, big spoiler. I can talk.
If you want, once we go through kind of the plot, when we get to that part, you can let us know.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, what were other things? As we're touching on, I'm sure we'll talk about more. I think the steampunk 1960s, but really more like 1950s theme and everything just was fantastic. This game, it's like a horror game, but not, because you feel powerful. Like it's like I remember one of my friends in college saying this, that like the first time you come across a big daddy and have to fight it, it's like you're kind of like, oh shit, and especially it's like so powerful. But once you kind of get a little bit into the game and get like a arsenal of weapons and power-ups, like the big daddies are still scary, but not nearly as much. But the game is still like very dark, especially if you were really paying attention to like the lore and some of the voice boxes. It's just like, holy shit, like stuff got pretty heinous down here. And just, yeah, with the horror setting, the art style and everything, there's not many games like this that just kind of bring all that together. And I thought it did all that in a really fantastic way.
So looking back with hindsight, have you played, but you said you've played Bioshock Infinite, correct?
Like yeah, I have never beat it. I remember I played probably like 4 or 5 hours of it.
Would you say that the, I guess, theme and sort of like art style in that game, how would you say it compares to the first game, now having played both?
From what I remember in that game felt a lot more colorful and Victorian. I don't remember. I know it had some steampunk aspects. I just remember like the hook things you would slide around and grind on, like your Sonic.
Yeah.
So I think they're comparable. I feel like, and I don't know, I don't remember really any of the lore about that game other than, well, I essentially don't remember any. So I don't know if it takes place at the same time or after, but it feels like it takes place like in a future past this game. I feel like this
I
one
wanna
is definitely
play it again now.
a lot more
So
gritty.
lay off the spoilers because I don't remember Infinite that much, other than I beat it and I liked it. But that's all I remember.
I guess that's my cue to shut up. Yeah, but what you were saying, the 50s, I love the 1950s art style. That's like one of my favorite aesthetic of all time. So if you have that in your video game, I'm probably very interested in it. So I just love to explore worlds that's set in that era or have that distinctive look.
So one thing I did notice too, like after I beat it, I was going through watching like some footage of the original game and the new game, because I was looking up a few things that were like changed or whatnot. I did see they changed the weapon design pretty significantly. Like in the original game, like the revolver is just like a 6-shooter. The machine gun is like a Thompson. And in the remaster, they made the stuff feel more steampunk. Like the pistol isn't just like a generic revolver. The machine gun still like kind of looks like a Tommy gun, but is clearly its own design. So I feel like I like that more, that they did that more in the remaster, because just from the footage I've seen, the weapons, which I think is fine to just use essentially like real weapons, but I think being like a different world and style and everything, I did like that the weapons kind of felt like they more belonged and had more character in this universe in the remaster.
Yeah. And they did have, like, I don't want to call it rudimentary, but kind of a straightforward upgrade system for the guns. And as you upgraded them, they got more and more steampunky, which was nice. Yeah, I definitely think this game's art is probably its strongest point.
And I guess the last major thing we haven't touched on too much is the respawn mechanic. I didn't hate it, but I wasn't a fan of it. So anyone listening who doesn't know, in this game, when you die, you respawn in the closest, I forget what they're called. They're these like bat tanks.
Vita chamber, yeah.
Yeah. And then you walk out of it. The game state is the same. So enemies retain damage you've done to them. You have the same amount of ammo and everything. And so I guess I didn't like it because in some ways it made it too easy. There's a couple times when I was playing on the harder difficulty, it made it more annoying. Because I was like run out of ammo, or I was like so low on ammo. I'm like, I'm kind of like screwed now. I have a lot more of a preference, I guess, in like a conventional shooter. It's like when you die, you have to restart that area. I didn't like, because then I switched to normal. I wasn't dying as much, but when I did die too, it's just like, oh, there's like no penalty. I just quickly run back to that area and just, now I'm at mostly full health, and I just finish killing everything off. What did you guys feel about that respawn mechanic?
Well, I think that made Big Daddy's much more manageable. Because one thing I really miss about the game, or wish it had, was a good dodge. Because that Big Daddy, he going right for you. So I wish you could just have a button to roll out.
I was essentially using the electricity for that reason. When I felt Big Daddy, yeah, because I was like, I just would try and stun it if it charged me.
Yeah, that's the best method to kill a Big Daddy, is like get that electricity going.
I didn't really engage with Vita chambers all that much. I think anytime I actually like died and respawned in one, I was like, oh, I have no ammo now. and just reloaded.
Blue is playing classic FPS mode.
Yeah. And
If you play on easy, then you don't die.
and
then don't
you
go
never
in
die
those
and you never.
chambers.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Speaking of difficulty in Big Daddies, I struggled with the Rosies, the ones with like the rivet guns. They gave me a hard time every single time because they like had very good reaction. So even if you were like hiding in cover, you would pop out and shoot it and then try and pop back in. Like in that time, it had enough time to just rivet you and take like 3/4 of your life.
I
So they were pretty scary like throughout the entire game for me.
Yeah, I found my strategy was generally hit them with electricity, and then surprisingly enough, using the flamethrower, I would just
Mm.
hit that and hold it on them, and it kind of melted their health pretty quickly. And you could always like try and get at an angler just hitting like their arm, um, so they can't really shoot you. But yeah, the Rosies were a pain in the ass because they had such good like they like just don't miss if they shoot at you. And like Shadow was saying, I wanted like a dodge mechanic because there'd be sometimes it's like you come in a room and it's like I'm just gonna get shot to shit, and there's like not much I can
See,
do.
if you were hacking cameras and bots, he would
Hey.
be distracted with all this other stuff going on,
You're what?
which is a legitimate mechanic.
What's the main villain's name? Adam.
Andrew Ryan.
Andrew Ryan. You're what he called the type of person he hates. You are a freeloader. You don't work for yourself. Or yeah, he would call you a parasite. 'Cause that's why he hates the most is people who do you make robots do your work, Vinny.
I took full advantage of what was put before me.
I saw something on the screen that we haven't talked about. Is how the camera is working. Not like the camera you're moving, but the physical camera you're getting a story, like taking picture of enemies to make them weaker and gaining more perks and advantage over them. I think that was an incredible good game mechanic.
It was one
And
I always forgot about. I'd be like, oh yeah, I have a camera. I'll take like 5 or 6 pictures, and then I'd go another 3 hours and be like, oh, that's right, I have this camera.
Dude, after I got that camera, I was playing this game like it was Pokemon Snap.
Yep.
Just clicking those pictures, getting
I didn't
all
use it. I didn't use it very much when it first sort of introduced it. Like it gives you the quest to like take like however many. I was like, okay, that's neat. But I did it a lot more later in the game because the enemies started getting more and more bullet spongy. And so the camera sort of counteracts that. I feel like the bullet sponginess won out in the end, but there was definitely a point in like the mid game once I had, the camera and the guns were sort of upgraded that the gunplay wasn't as quite hadn't gotten to the point where they were bullet spongy. You could kind of kill a basic splicer in like one shotgun blast, and that felt good. But it didn't persist throughout the entire game, unfortunately. Late game, yeah, things got pretty spongy.
I wish the camera wasn't something you had to switch to as a weapon. That was why I didn't like using it. And when you'd switch to it, like that first like second, it would be like blurry and out of focus. And at least in the remaster. So I used it a bit before I switched to hard or normal. So I made the switch not too long after I got the camera, because it did start making enemies easier. So the camera basically gives you boosted damage and whatnot. But I didn't use it a lot because it seemed like every time I would take a picture of an enemy, the bar would fill up and it would say they're on A. And then I'd be like, oh, it's like basically done. And I swear every time I'd take a picture of a Big Daddy or a Splicer, or it'd be like, fill up to A. And I'm just like, does ours just go to A? Like on the video, I see like they're taking pictures and there's like level C and stuff. I don't think I ever took a picture. It was like C or B. It was like always A or would like level up to A plus or something.
That's your like picture score.
Oh, that's a picture score.
Taking good pictures all the time. Yeah.
So I was taking good pictures apparently then. I guess didn't know. I guess that research progress bar. I was thinking that research progress bar was like going up the score, so I would have an A
The letter
picture,
grade.
and it would fill up all the way. I'm like, oh, I don't need to take any more pictures of slicers, or this type of slicer.
No, that's. I mean, they could make it a little clearer, but yeah, like if you get an A score, the bar fills up more. It doesn't mean like you maxed out the rating. It's just you got more credit for that photo. I know I completed the research on most of the enemies. It was definitely annoying to like flip from the camera to a gun back and forth, on a moment's notice, but especially for some of the tougher enemies.
A lot of the gun enemies in this game have such good accuracy. Like you're gonna get shot if you're taking pictures. I guess what they want you to do, because you get better photo qualities if you do it like an action scene or like do damage to them. So like a lot of times I'll shock them, take a picture. And I suppose that's probably kind of what they want you to do. But I do wish it was just like hotkey to Q on my keyboard, where it's like middle combat, hit Q, and you can't like shoot, but it's like a half second and he like takes a photo, and I can be more seamless in combat, because that's why I wasn't using it nearly as much. I just did not want to keep scrolling all the way through and I'd probably be at like the camera's number 6, so I'd probably be on 5 and be like, oh, I need to scroll up and then scroll down to 4, and I'm scrolling through all my weapons. And for me too, when it came to the powers, the game had a lot of powers. I essentially just stuck to electricity and flame and incinerate. I'd use the others mostly accidentally, because I would scroll and meant to scroll on one of those two, and I wouldn't be on it. They made a lot of them. Like there's the ones where it could like make the big daddies think you're an ally, or make cameras target people, and those ones were so situational. And for the most part, when it came to slicers, I'm just like, it's just quicker and easier just to shoot them with the shotgun than switch to my power and go to one of those like more situational ones. The other thing that drove me nuts, I don't know if Vinny and Blue, if you had this happen, was you could have like your 6 powers. So you start with the electricity is the first one you get, then you get, I think, incinerate or the telekinesis. But forever I had my electricity 1, incinerate 2. Then when they leveled up, they moved to different spots where like the electricity was 6, incinerate was like 3. And then I went to the gene modifier and like was moving them like in that, but didn't change their placement on like
the hotkey. Yeah.
And that drove me freaking insane, because it's just like, those are the 2 I want to use, and I can't just have them next to each other. I suppose I could have unequipped the others, but just with how the system worked, it was kind of clunky that I just wanted to use the 2 that I powered up, and both had damage and utility, because both of those could like stun enemies, and not focus on, because I was trying to use more, but a lot of times in like tough combat, I'd switch to my powers, and then I'm having to scroll through to find out which one, and you're being shot and you're trying to run, and it was just like, it's just too much. I'm taking too much damage, so I just need to focus on the ones I need and not just try and be like, all right, what, I have a ball in my hand, what color is it, what, the green one does this, or in the blue one, it's just like, oh, it's just electricity, go. So I guess, how do you feel about powers, and what were the ones you use the most or your favorites?
I definitely concentrated on electricity and fire, and then I used the it was like the retargeting grenade or whatever, where you would throw it on a person and like all the enemy turrets and bots would attack them. I used that one quite a bit. But those are the main ones. I did like that there were a bunch of options. You could kind of pick and choose what you wanted to do with it, but I feel like
I
they
remember
also
Oh,
yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
Well, just the tail end of my thought was I felt like they purposefully didn't have very high ammunition ceilings for the weapons because they wanted you to be using the powers. So there was like they made the design choice to not give you the ability to carry as much ammunition for each of the guns because they wanted you to constantly be switching, using the power, switching back, getting in the hit while they were stunned or weak.
I definitely mostly used electricity, but I know when I originally played it, I did use the one with the bees a lot, just because it was different. Like some of these plasmids don't make sense, but I also don't understand how taking a picture gives you plasmids. But I guess we'll ignore that. It's fun anyway. Um, but yeah, electricity, and I did use the whatever the one that makes the big daddies on your side. Whenever I like, if it was a new level and like you just entered it and there's a big daddy already, I'm like, okay, you're coming with me. I just let him just kind of
New
stomp
ally.
through the level and
Yeah.
smash everything.
Yeah. I was using electricity for the most part. I was waiting for when in the story you get bees, but like the dingus I am, I forgot you get it from the vending machine, so I went through the most of the game without it. But when I finally bought it, I did use some bee powers. I find that to be a very fun and unique ability to have. Like, it's very effective too, especially when you're gonna defend someone, which happened later in the story. That was very useful. But I don't really use much of it unless the part where you're unstable and just randomly have different powers.
Yeah,
That's where I tested out the different ones. I totally forgot there was a ice one.
yeah. I was using the ice one a bit. I was also using the wind one once, like towards the end. Um, Half the time I started using it because it was in between like my electricity and incinerate. So half the time I would accidentally use it. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of useful because it just knocks everyone down. And then I just would walk up and just shotgun. um, but with that said, feel free to bring up other gameplay elements, but we can kind of go over the plot. And this will be fairly a high overview, but if there are specific spots you want to talk about more or get more in detail, let me know.
I just want to ask you all: did you have the first world problem where your wallets was constantly full? Like I feel like my wallets was full like all the time. Like I have to go buy something.
I think that only happened to me once. Otherwise, I was spending all of my money on shotgun ammunition.
Early game, I was broke a lot, especially when I was playing on hard. But
Yeah.
once I got about halfway, yeah, because I think you cap out like 500, and
Yeah.
I would start to try and pick up money I couldn't. I'd be like, oh, let's just go find a vending machine and like stock up all my ammo. So it wasn't happening a ton, but I would say probably about 4 or 5 times. But once it started to happen, once I ever noticed I was like in the high 300s or 400s, I would spend all my money to get down to like $50.
I was also buying a ton of med packs or whatever they were called, like the healing items. Not having like regenerating health is, you know, something that modern games have, for the most part, kind of embraced. And in this game, yeah, if you lose health, it's just gone. You got to heal it.
Which
Good
I
luck.
like. I did have
Yeah.
one part. It pissed me off so much. There's a couple times stuff would happen in this game that would half the time it was hacking, but probably one of the times I got the most frustrated is towards the end of the game during a pretty hard part, and I just got done killing a big daddy, and I think I had like 8 health packs on me. So I run up and I to the little sister and starts like take her Adam out of her or whatever, the slug. And there's a turret in sight, and the turrets can still shoot you during the animation. And I went from 8
Oh no.
to 1. Like as it's through the, I'm just getting lit up. As I think those 2 turrets are just lighting me up. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I just like, get the fuck out of this animation. And as soon as I get out, I'm down to like 2 health packs. I'm like, are you? I was like, that's so stupid. That's so angry.
Rage.
That's why you gotta hack the turrets.
I mean,
You said you clink your
point.
ally.
Yep.
The AI, speaking of clanking, the AI in this game that had a couple of things that it did every once in a while that were super impressive to me for the time. Like sometimes when you would incinerate or use the flamethrower on people and catch them on fire, if there was a source of water nearby, they would like jump into the water and put themselves out. And they would go, if they had the chance to like run away from you, they would go and heal using the like wall healing stations, which you could also hack to make it so that they would kill themselves when they went and did that, which I thought was a super interesting. Like,
both those are.
The AI can do an interesting thing, but also you can prepare AI to do that interesting thing and win by kind of manipulating their behaviors.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought that was really clever. And the AI was pretty smart. Like it would try. Well, maybe not smart, but the AI was at least competent where it would like retreat, and of course, lasers would just run at you. But yeah, I did notice that a couple hours in the game. I was like, it's like that motherfucker just healed himself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I caught on to that. But yeah, I used to incinerate a lot. And yeah, it was funny because they'll just run and just try and dive into pools of water. Which again, usually it's like, all right, I just walk up to you and start getting you in the shotgun.
Or you swap your plasma into the shock one and then you just... Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that added a lot of interesting little gameplay moments.
Yeah, they did good. I feel like it was one of those things with some of the level design where they would have ice you could melt with fire or different vents and stuff you could break and find different little paths, or there's oil that you could catch on fire, water you could shock. I think they did good about making, again, back to that level design, making the levels interesting and where it's not always running around shooting. Because sometimes I'd be like in the middle of the fight and be like, oh, there's a bunch of oil here, like I'm gonna quickly switch and catch it on fire. And that's part of the reason I was sticking to electricity and incinerate was it was so easy to electrocute water, and there's for some reason this place was just stocked with oil barrels that were constantly leaking, and it was so easy to catch oil on fire. But yeah, with that, to kind of go on to the plot. So again, this game takes place in 1960. It's an alternate reality. You don't know too much about the outside world. But your player's named Jack. You're on an airplane at the start of the game. It crashes into the Atlantic Ocean, and there's this giant spire in the water that you swim up, go down the submarine, and once you go down the submarine, you get like a little bit of a lore dump. You kind of watch like a movie that in game, it's like if you come to the city called Rapture, which is this like underwater city, like it's kind of like a welcome to video, and you realize uh it's created by this game guy called Andrew Ryan, who is kind of a Howard Hughes figure. That's his name, right? The airplane guy who kind of was out there towards the end of his life, but he is essentially like a very extreme, like neolib. He doesn't like America, he doesn't like the communist, and he doesn't like religion of the Vatican. That kind of explains in the beginning. He famously, like, as you're going down, has like a line like, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his own brow? And a lot of his philosophy is free will, and like you put in work and you get rewarded for it. But he hates anything that he views as freeloaders. He calls parasites. He even like healthcare, he doesn't want to be free. Like you have to pay for it, which is why you have to pay for the little healing machines all over the Rapture. But once you get down Rapture, you can quickly tell the place has gone awful. This guy comes to try and help you right away and gets cut up by what you learn is called a slicer. And a guy on a radio named Atlas starts talking to you and essentially is like, I want out of here. I need to rescue my wife and kid. If you help me, like, I'll help you escape. I do like at the very start of the game, after you get out of the submarine. I wish it did a little bit more of this. It did in different areas, mostly in the beginning of the game, but you can clearly tell there's a protest. There's a bunch of signs saying like Rapture is dead, protesting Andrew Ryan, and not too far past that, you can find essentially like everything went wrong during like the New Year's party for like 1960. There's like a room that was clearly like a New Year's party. So things went bad not that long ago in the game. And shortly after you get down there, due to Atlas telling you you inject yourself with the substance that he tells you is rewriting your genetic code, and that's the source of your powers. And you learn that there's this stuff called Adam that lets you rewrite your genetic code. That's caused everyone to go crazy. And you get knocked out, and you quickly glimpse what are called the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters. And the Little Sisters are these little genetic girls who extract Adam, and the Big Daddies follow them around and protect them. And so I guess start of the game, what is everyone's kind of thoughts, like the whole intro? Or anything anyone wants to add on when it comes to like, the start of the game?
Well, this also starts with one of the major plot devices the game uses, and why he puts the plasmid into himself without thinking. So I think that's a good foreshadowing, and yeah, you're gonna wanna ask, why does someone just put something in their veins by from someone that just he met, so
Yeah.
I do like that intro. It was like very fun to play it again, and it made my interest peak again, even though I played it before.
Yeah, I
So
felt that the beginning part of the game was definitely like exposition heavy. It kind of tries to explain a lot, and I don't know because they do the kind of like intro movie thing that you were talking about in the bathysphere, where Andrew Ryan's kind of, you know, espousing his viewpoint and why Rapture exists and all that. It's a lot of information that they have to try and convey. So that might be the best way to do it in essentially what is a cutscene, right?
yeah.
An in-universe cutscene. But it is also entirely non-interactive, essentially. For like, you spend like a couple minutes watching the intro of the game, then you're basically just playing walking simulator to get down there, and then you go through another cutscene to actually get there. Now that being said, it is a well-made, reveal of Rapture, and they do a definite. They immediately after that, it goes into kind of like a pseudo horror reveal of the splicers and everything. You don't even have a weapon at that point. See, and it's all dark and gloomy, and the lighting is super good. And they're also sort of piecemeal tutorialing you at that point where it's like, this is how you crouch and sneak and hide and jump over stuff and try and get away from the splicers. So I think it works, but it is like exposition heavy, which is, I think, okay, given that the story in the game is pretty decent, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, I just think it set up a very like the framework for a complex or engaging story. Like you can feel that there's a history down here. It's not just some like haunted house. It's like they built something here. What went wrong? Who am I hearing over the radio? Who's this guy? It makes you like want to find out what's going on and who these people are instead of it, just like, oh no, here's another splicer around a corner. Like you're trying to like uncover what happened down here as you go through your journey.
And yeah, I agree. I think it does a really good job about setting up like mysteries to this lore that you're at least like as a player I was like interested in. Like what what's the catalyst for everything going that's up down here, and trying to learn more about like who some of these characters are who haven't went crazy, or even the game does a good job of you it's one of those things you have to pay attention to. If you're just playing the game purely for gameplay, I would say easily probably 50% more of the story will just go right over your head, because a lot of those audio tapes you find are a lot of the same recurring characters, and a lot of them, especially early on, are recorded like a couple days or the day of when everyone kind of finally went crazy. Um, so is it like interesting where you kind of start to hear a bunch of characters talk about it and then you find them dead, or a couple of them are sometimes like a boss character. Because essentially early on, like one you go check the med clinic in Rapture, and like one of the it's probably like the first like actual boss of the game was a plastic surgeon in Rapture who just started going crazy with the atom and started completely sculpting everyone's face differently. And like you finally listen to like one tape where he like does it to one of his nurses. But as you continue the story, uh in the early part too, and we'll come back to this, but you find out that a lot of the cause for Rapture going crazy was there was a guy called Frank Fontaine who basically ran like a black market, and you kind of and um Andrew Ryan was never a fan of him, but as you play the story and you hear more of these tapes, Ryan starts to compete with him more and then tries to like stop him and do stuff to slow him down because he was importing alcohol, and then you find out he was importing banned material like the Bible, and then he was helping the poor. And again, Andrew Ryan thought poor people didn't work, and anyone who's a freeloader is a parasite. And you kind of learn a lot of the splicers were this Frank guy made into a cult, and he used drugs and religion as like two of the primary ways, and using and going after the poor and the more disenfranchised. That was like who he recruited, and it's why a lot of times you'd hear them singing. You'd hear splicers always singing like the "Jesus Loves Me" song. Yeah, but
Right before you shotgun him in the back.
but if you love him so much, how about you go meet him? So I thought that was pretty interesting because then you start to see, all right, there was clearly like as you listen to the tapes, like a power struggle where there's a guy who's like kind of the antithesis of to Ryan, um, how started to cause essentially like an uprising. Um, and as you continue playing through the game, really your main plot point for the first like third is trying to help Atlas free his wife and child. You finally get to a part where there's this I keep calling them submarines. What are they called? Blue?
Oh, the bathyspheres.
The
Yeah.
bathysphere, where his wife and child are in it. And then it gets attacked, and as you are trying to run up and save it, it explodes and kills them. So Atlas's new goal is that you both need to now kill Andrew Ryan, and then he can escape. So you continue your journey, and Blue talked about this character a little bit earlier, which I forget his name, but you get to like an area and you find out there's like this artist guy. So it's like use the metro. He has you basically locked out of it and has to go track down a bunch of his like pupils that you have to kill and take photos for so you can put them in this like final art project. And that's kind of like a hub with like different areas that you can run around. What did everyone think about that section?
It
Yeah, the
definitely
Andrew
stood
Ryan.
out.
Yeah.
It was different than most of the rest of the game, and I like the little fireworks that go off when you put the picture up.
Yeah. So,
But
what?
I forgot to go back at the end. I guess you can go back to him later or something if you didn't kill him.
So that's what I was gonna ask. Did you? So after you kill his pupils, and the way you meet him, there's a guy playing the piano who's clearly in distress, and he's asking just to be let go. And apparently his performance was not up to snuff, and he just blows up the piano and kills him. I'll see if I can bring that scene up. Uh, so the guy's clearly a bit unhinged. But after you do all the stuff for him, he will just let you go. Or you can kill him. So I did kill him because I wanted to he basically gives you an item and there's like a locked chest thing. And I was like, I want what's in that. So I shot him, so I got the key off him. Did everyone else kill him, or?
I let him live. I also really like in this section where the piano plays this classical music and a bunch of enemies is just gunning for you. This is a very funny moment in this game.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, that's the part that glitched for me. So my first section of that was a little borked, but when I replayed it, I was like, oh, this works a lot better when you're actually fighting the enemies. Because that was when I was just walking around and there was nothing happening. I was like, okay, we're just playing some music and vibing.
Right.
But it makes a lot more sense.
I thought you talked about the freezer section.
Oh,
But yeah. I think
yeah,
that messed up with me, but yeah.
I let him live. I was under the impression that you could go or you see him later if you let him live or something, but maybe I was mistaken, or I'm just
I
dumb.
believe you can find him later. Because I remember doing that the first time I played. But you have to go. There's a certain part in the game where you're basically in the city and walking around, and it's like a tower in the middle that's an elevator that you have to try and unlock, and there's a bunch of apartments all around the edges of it, and his house is like one of those apartments, and there's splicers in there, and you have to kill the splicers, or I think maybe he comes out and kills them. I don't know. It's basically like a little mini cutscene thing.
I
like a
guess
trailer
I somehow missed it.
Yeah.
I was
There's
trying
a
to
ton
get
of-
everything, but
Yes, there's a ton of apartments in that section, and it's easy to miss them because they all look the same except for the tiny little nameplate on the door. Yeah, one of them is his apartment, so if you don't kill him early on, he is in there.
But yeah, so I thought that part was definitely one of the more fun parts. It was so dark, but like you're saying, every time you complete a picture, it does like it'll like play music and usually send a bunch of splicers at you. After you do all three, he has this whole shebang where he comes down the stairs. I'll try and jump forward to it if I can find it in this let's play. No, right here. Which once he unlocks a metro, you're able to get to where Ryan's office is. And I was wondering because again, I talked to Blue when he beat this game. I've always kind of heard this game's like 8 to like 10 hours. So it's like it's too early for me to like there's got to be something that's going to go wrong. And I got to like unlock a path. But sure Andrew's office is protected by like this electric lock. So I have to like disable that by essentially some of the people before they fully went crazy and when they were trying to escape made an EMP bomb. So you have to build this bomb, set it off to like disable part of the core so you can get past his lock. And when you do, Ryan starts, which throughout most of the game, he at first thinks you're like a CIA or KGB. Then he kind of figures out who you are, but he doesn't fully tell you yet. And once you get up to him, you find him casually playing golf in his office. And let me jump ahead real quick to it. I can find it in the Let's Play. I'll try and get to it later. I forget where it's at in here, but and I'm like, all right, what's gonna go on? Because it doesn't seem like I should be killing him at this point. And he finally tells you that you've been doing everything because of a phrase that Atlas keeps saying, "Would you kindly?" And when he brings that up, he starts asking you, "Would you kindly sit down? Would you kindly run? Would you kindly do this?" And your character starts doing it all. And then it like briefly goes through like flashbacks of every time when Atlas says, "Would you kindly?" So like when Shadow was alluding at the beginning of the game when you inject yourself with the atom, uh Atlas asks you like, "Would you kindly inject like put the atom or whatever in you?" And Andrew tells you that you were actually born in Rapture and you're basically a test tube baby. I believe you're like 2 years old and you're fully grown, and like all your memories of your family and stuff are artificial, implanted in you. And I knew there's something going on with this because as you play the game, it doesn't happen often, but every once in a while something goes on and it'll like flash like a black and white picture of a family or of a farmhouse. I'm like, all right, what? It's clearly doing that for a reason. Um, and then you learn that Atlas is not who he is claiming to be, but Jack asks you, would you kindly basically kill him and start beating him to death with his golf club, which you do, and you kill him only to have Atlas tell you, would you kindly take his key card and turn off the self-destruct. And at this point, you find out that Atlas is actually Frank Fountain, who was like the black market guy, kind of the uh, rival to Andrew Ryan, and he had essentially just wants to take over Rapture for himself. So this, of course, is clearly a big twist, and I can see, especially at the time, how for a video game this being pretty like groundbreaking and unique, and still to the today, I'm sure there's more games that have probably been inspired and done something like this. But yeah, I guess what was your original thoughts and going back and playing through it now to kind of the reveal that Andrew Ryan essentially isn't the main villain of this game, and you essentially kill him halfway in.
I
thought this
remember.
was
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just remember how much that like stuck with me even until like that's what made me even suggest the game now, just because it was such a cool reveal. Like I don't remember any other game up to this point having something like that as part of the story. Uh and yeah, he the way he just like tells you to kill him and you just like do it. It's like disturbing, especially since he's spoiler, he's kind of your dad. It's like kill me because you're a slave and I'm not, and then you just blindly do it. Like that's messed up, and I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah, it is interesting. So, and because yeah, Ryan, once he kind of figures out who you are, he clearly hates you because yeah, he essentially is your father. And the thing, again, Ryan is essentially like an extreme neolib, and the thing he holds above all else is free will. So the fact that your character essentially has no free will means he can't think any lower of you. Um, but but yeah, it was also interesting too because it's all a cutscene, which I think is also like narratively fitting because you normally I think it's more impactful as a player for you to have the control and do something like that, but narratively, I think it is much better that it is a cutscene you can't control because you're essentially a slave to this mind control and this phrase.
Yeah, that phrase is what's been really sticking with me when I played this for the first time. Like, Andrew Ryan says it himself. Powerful phrase, isn't it? And how Atlas or Frank did manipulate you throughout the whole game. That was such a big reveal. And I can't say I know any games that does something like this. So, still after all these years, this is still a pretty unique plot point. So, that's pretty rad.
I do remember originally it blew my mind. I was like, holy smokes, this is wild. I also think it's very clever that obviously they make references to Frank Fontaine in like the radio, recordings that you pick up throughout the game up to that point, and they kind of make reference to like, oh, he's trying to do sneaky things to subvert Andrew Ryan's control, and then it talks about the idea that like Andrew Ryan is kind of going back on his own ideals. It's the later end of Rapture. He's trying so hard to keep Frank Fontaine and his like cult or whatever in check. He starts like locking down on like the free will stuff that he his entire. So it's super interesting that like he is essentially presented, he being Andrew Ryan, is presented with a version of himself that has been enslaved, and I think that plays super well into the narrative and why he essentially chooses to go out the way he does on his own terms. Yeah, I think it just goes to show that the narrative of the game is top notch. Interesting things that happen. I don't know, 2000. So this game came out in 2007, which is the same year that the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out. And they did something not quite to the same level of twist, but they do this something similar in which the spoiler alert for a 20-year-old game. You're playing a protagonist. You're playing multiple protagonists in that game, but like one of the protagonists just dies halfway through the game, which hadn't really been done very much. So it was a good year for narrative twists in first-person shooter games. But yeah, this one definitely, the reveal and twist at the end was such a good twist, and just proves that if you can pull off a twist, it can make a story and make a game.
And it's like the whole time you're like I mean, maybe not quite up until that point, but you're kind of like on Atlas's side, like, oh, we got to get him, and then it's like, oh wait, like they're both the bad guy in their own own unique
just been
special
being
way.
manipulated this whole time. Great.
It's
like,
definitely.
Is there any good character? I mean, it's cool. It's very like complex characters, but like there's no good guy in this.
Yeah,
and I think it's interesting.
Maybe your choices. Maybe you are. Maybe.
I think it's even interesting after that because they present you the same option again with Tenenbaum, right? You go directly from Andrew Ryan discovering Atlas is like just been manipulating you this entire time, and then you wake up in Tenenbaum's lab and she tells you like I've removed this mind control stuff, but you're gonna suffer for the next however long, and it's gonna mess with your plasmids and stuff, and you're essentially like Frank Fontaine is still in your ear being like, don't trust her. You trusted me. That was a terrible idea. Like, so the game is still playing with that even after it presents the twist, right? Yeah, it's interesting. I think the ending of the game is the strongest narrative, and it also is like the most well, I won't say the weakest gameplay wise, but it's definitely when all of the enemies become like bullet spongy and the difficulty ramps up. So I don't know, it's an interesting sort of pacing conundrum for the game.
Yeah, do you think it was really insightful, like what you're talking about with Andrew Ryan was essentially you find a tape where one of the doctors is like, "Hey, we can take over the the splicers, like essentially like mind control them and break them off from Frank." And Andrew Ryan kind of he quickly, but he kind of reluctantly agrees to do that. But like what you're saying, like he essentially is becoming like the worst aspect of himself because like that's the breaks like his core tenet, and like that's how far he was going to try and stop what Frank was doing. Was just like I'm going to take all their free will away and make them into essentially zombies.
If I may, we've gotten to the point where I think the level design is actually taking a nosedive. So after killing Andrew Ryan, I didn't really have much fun exploring the game, and I think it kind of felt a bit a rush, with a lack of a better word, but had this conversation with someone from another community and he felt like that too, so I don't know if that's something you guys feeling too.
A little bit, but at the same time, I almost feel like once this twist is revealed, it's like I want to be like pushed hard to get to kind of the climax to now try and go after Frank. Um, Not to say it couldn't be done another way, but because really post this, there's like I know that there's the one area right after you kill Ryan that I didn't like. And then there's like the area where you make yourself into a big daddy. I enjoyed that area more. But I kind of know what you're talking about, Shadow. It definitely I do think the levels weren't as well designed, but at the same time, it's just like narrative wise, it's just like let's go actually get this guy now. And if it took too long, I could see how that would hurt the narrative. Not to say you couldn't do it, but
Yeah, I mean, the length is not my problem. It's just the areas just doesn't feel like from the same game. You know, it's like how should I put it? Like even ahead.
Well, that's when you get
Not
to the like apartments thing, and when you gotta. I mean, I can see where you're coming from there. Like that's the one part that I got stuck on.
yeah.
Was specifically when you're making yourself into the big daddy. Like I don't know what I was doing, but I could not find. I don't remember which piece it was, but I
yeah,
was
it's
going in
similar.
circles.
There's one piece I was like, where's this last part?
Yeah.
And that is also the section where they give you an escort quest, right? Where you have to walk a little sister around and stop her from.
That's like the very
At the
end.
end.
That's after you've like
Wait.
assembled all the pieces and become a big daddy, basically.
Yeah.
So we haven't talked on her a ton. So, yeah, I guess to kind of be clear, you're essentially were an embryo stolen from, I believe it was a stripper that Andrew Ryan knocked up, and basically Frank sent you to the surface, put this like phrase in you. You find out like on the plane you're the reason and it crashed, like you caused it to crash and stuff, and that was all part of like Frank's plan. But early in the game you talk to the lady who basically made the little sisters, the little girls who walk around with the big daddies. What's her name? Dr.
Tenbaum.
Tenenbaum. And she basically, the first time you can you kill a big daddy, you have the option to either kill the sisters and take all their Adam, or let them live and only take partial Adam. and she wants you to let them live. Atlas, at this time, you don't know he's evil. He tells you to kill them. And this can lead to one of 3 different endings. This game has an ending if you don't kill any of the sisters, an ending if you kill them all, and an ending if you kill some and release some. And so, like,
Were any of you monsters?
I did not kill any.
I saved them all.
So I remember I accidentally killed one the first time I played this game way back when. But I didn't this time through. And I remember either reading this or seeing it somewhere, but ultimately there isn't really a drawback for saving them. The game presents it to you like, oh, you get more Adam if you harvest them and kill them, which is technically true, but it's not really true in the long run, because if you save every 3 little sisters you save, you get a reward, and that reward contains Adam.
Yeah.
So it's like
you get 10% less, essentially. Because I think if you kill them, you get 80 Adam, 80 or 60, or if you save them, you get like 80 or 60. I think if you kill them, you get 100. But yeah, every 3 you save, you get a reward that has Adam, and it basically comes out to you end up with 10% less Adam. And Adam is
just a negligible amount. Yeah.
The main thing you use to like upgrade yourself, get more health, more slots to put perks, to upgrade perks to better versions of the perks. But yeah, once Jack dies, you basically wake up. Dr. Tannenbaum has deactivated specifically the "would you kindly" condition, so Frank can't just force you to do stuff, because the first thing he does, the game is kind of funny because when he goes, Frank is like, all right, you need to die. He sends his 2 drones to kill you. Like, this is it. Like, of course I'm gonna fight my way through 2 drones. But you end up getting knocked out, and she takes off the "would you kindly" thing, because when he finds out you're still alive, he tells you basically, would you kindly get your like head stomped in by Big Daddy? And then it's just like, wait, you're not listening. But he can still, like, I think he tells you, or he's able to like make your brain or your heartbeat slower, that it hurts your health significantly. And essentially, yeah, as Blue was saying, Dr. Tenenbaum wants you to help her and stop Frank. And you basically use the help of the little sisters to do this. This essentially ends up with you going to the facility where they made the Big Daddies, and you essentially put on a Big Daddy suit. You have to get the equipment, you have to get the chemicals. Apparently Big Daddies stink really bad because they're pheromones, and you have to smell like one. And this ends with the little sisters, because you need a little sister to help you through a specific door so you can get to Frank. And once you do that, you get in the Big Daddy suit. And I'll jump ahead in the gameplay.
While you do that, I find it funny you're speaking of the smell, because one of my points in my notes, it's like, smell disgusting like a Big Daddy. that made me chuckle, and it can be a good command for some of you.
Why did they have to do the vocal cord thing? Like, it's irreversible. Even if you got the good ending, like, you still sound like that forever.
It's like you're always speaking grunts. You just gotta walk around with the helium and just constantly have helium go on your...
Normalize it.
Yeah. You just have to wear a Darth Vader mask. Yeah, like one of the things is extending and ripping your vocal cords to have a deeper voice. Um, so you turn to Big Daddy, and it goes to an escort quest. Now, I will say, when you get the Big Daddy suit, I forget specifically, but it's like you take like 25% less like damage or something. Like when you get this, like each part, I think gave you like rewards. That said, I wish it was a lot more. I really wish the very end they just made you feel like freaking Superman as a Big Daddy.
Unstoppable.
You should have
Yeah.
had like a drill that could just like one shot enemies. And because for the most part, it's like, oh, when I walk around, I have like clunky sounding shoes, but I didn't really feel any different. So I thought it was really cool you become a Big Daddy. Well, I guess I don't know if you actually become one. You're just kind of wearing the suit and everything, but it didn't. I wish they would have took it a step further where you really felt like I am just a monster right now, and I am just like send hordes of enemies at me that I and make it like dangerous now because and they kind of do that, but I think they should have tried to up it a little bit more. Um,
Yeah, they're like, put on this outfit, put on this spray, have irreversible vocal cord surgery, and you're good to go. Like, what? Why is that last one part of this?
uh, but yeah, jumping forward, you have to do an escort quest and keep this little sister alive as she extracts Adam from these test subjects. I did also find this kind of ironic since you're constantly told like the little sisters are damn near indestructible. But apparently the one little sister you have to guard can die. uh I did when I first got to the scene, I didn't realize how slow she walked. So she did like the first extraction. I kept going forward. I got to like, the next uh person she needs to get Adam from. And then I just seen her bar just melting. And I ran back and just she just again jumped on by like eight eight splicers and died. So I reloaded. Because I didn't know if like if her dying was a fail state or if it would affect the ending. So it's just like I'm gonna just reload because uh instantly Dr. Tambo was like, you're supposed to keep them safe. So I might have just restarted or been like a fail state, but anyways, I reloaded and then actually like walked at her speed. But how would everyone kind of feel about becoming a Big Daddy and the little sister escort?
I
Not a
really
fan of
didn't.
the escort. The I agree it should have been more of a like god mode feeling, but the escort thing was slow and it's like
And
what was
she
even the point
repeats
of that?
herself 100 times. It was driving me
Oh, yeah.
nuts.
I can see the angels or
Yeah, we
something.
gotta go to the angels. Come on,
They're
Slowpoke.
dancing.
Come on, Slowpoke. I just like, shut up.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of the segments that caused escorts to become the reviled meme that they are.
The good news is it's only one part and it's fairly short. It's
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was that era of escort, like that mid to late 2000s escort quest got a bad rap for a reason.
Yep.
I think this section was way too long. Like in my notes, I like write the little system moved so slow.
Yep. And her
Uh,
repeating everything was just driving me nuts.
that I didn't mind, but the slow walking, and it didn't end. I think this could be go back to the cutting floor.
Well, after this mission, to kind of jump to it in the video, you finally get to. Oh, I did find it funny too. I didn't mention earlier. At one point, you're chasing Frank, and he's like throwing stuff down. It's like almost like silly. It did like take me out of it where he like you're going after him and he like picks up like steel beam and throws it to block you. Then you come through the door and he like pulls this other thing down, and then he finally goes in the elevator and breaks in, runs off, and it's almost like a turned into like a comic book. Like I felt like I felt like I was watching a cartoon where I'm just like, this doesn't seem like threatening. Like it's
Somebody
almost
really wanted like a goofy chase scene
yeah.
in it, like, and they were like, "You're gonna put it in it. You're gonna put this weird scene in there." Yeah,
And then when you see him next, he's like Dr. Manhattan, like a red
yeah.
nude supervillain. So
Yeah, he like hooks himself up to a machine and it injects him with a
bunch of
bazillion atom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because now I already played this when it came out, so it wasn't a spoiler for me, but in Steam, like in the first time I turned this on, the first card I got was a Atlas card, but it shows him as like the final boss, as the trading card in Steam. I'm like, wow, there's a
Steam's
spoiler.
trading card spoiler. That's pretty
It's a
funny.
major spoiler. But yeah.
But so this game didn't have a ton of boss fights. You fought the doctor. Some of the boss fights were just like them sending waves of splicers at you.
I think like the first Big Daddy kind of was like a mini boss.
But this was like one of the first one. This is like one of the main ones where it's like it's clearly feels like a boss fight. Like he has patterns. There's stuff going on. How did everyone feel about this boss fight? Like, did you think it was fun? Did you think it's a good climax? It does the typical, you have to beat him 3 times, and then he's defeated. Does it pulses? Then he probably automatically exit because of that, because of Zelda.
I thought it was super easy. Like the second he sent those drones in, I just immediately hacked both of them, so they were just on him the whole time. Every time a drone came in, I just immediately hacked it, which it's like I don't know how you're managing to hack in the middle of this gunfight, but it worked.
It's that good. Yeah, I didn't mind it. It wasn't. I think for its time, it was probably a pretty decent boss fight since he changes. He has a bunch of different like styles
Every time you
of
defeat
attacking.
him,
Yeah, so he
changes, like,
swaps
an
it up
element.
and keeps it interesting. But by that point in the game, you have so many upgrades and all your weapons are maxed out. They do the typical thing where right before you fight him, there's like a room that has tons of supplies and money and all the machines to like upgrade and make sure that you're topped off. So yeah, I would agree that it's since you're given so much, sort of telegraphing to prepare, it's fairly easy. Even if you don't really learn the patterns, you can kind of just, spam heals through everything.
That's how I felt too. You can go ahead first, Shadow.
So I think often final bosses can be they're trying too much and just ruin the fight with being too much, right? But this one, I found it very easy. Like the Big Daddies pose a more bigger threat to me than Fontaine did, because you're so stacked up. You have all the grades. You can hack the bots, like Vinny said. So this was piece of cake, and I remember sitting there like, oh, that was it. Okay, GG, I guess.
So, and essentially, I have the same feeling. I thought I didn't hate the fight, I thought it was like fun enough. But it was insanely easy. Like essentially, you just held strafe and you didn't get hit. And then like bots and splicers would come out, and you just quit. Like I'll just quickly switch to. I think for this bots, I just switch my shotgun with my electric shells. Boom, boom, they're both dead. And then splicers switch to the machine gun with anti-personnel ammo. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, they're all dead. All right, now go back to shooting him with like the rockets and the bolt. But yeah, that was what I thought was most disappointing. I wish they did something because Shadow spot on. The Big Daddy fights were tougher than he was. I felt like for the most part, it's just like I'm just sidestepping and he can't seem to hit me. But that said, it was still like fun enough. He had the right amount of health, at least on normal, where it's like I got to unload, use a bunch of weapons, and the fight didn't overstay. But it also wasn't relying on a gimmick. Because I think that's a challenge with a shooter. Is when it comes to final boss, it's very easy to make you rely on a gimmick where it stops feeling like a first person shooter and you have to like break the genre where then it's not fun because I'm not playing a shooter. So it is tough to make like a proper boss. But yeah, it is underwhelming, but harmless enough, I guess.
I welcome. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think what I think they should have done for his like third form was have like 2 Big Daddies come out. Like
Yeah,
really
okay.
ramp up that third form and you can like focus on him and kill him and win, or you have to deal with the big like that last little bit, like we're gonna turn it up real quick on you. Because again, you should be full on health and ammo and everything going into this fight.
So I was trying to say I rather want to have an easy final boss than a final boss with 15 phases and gimmicks and all that. So I welcome it. It's just also a bit easy.
All right, and the game finally ends, and it's on screen of the little sisters stabbing him to death and sucking out all of his Adam, which I thought is a
As you do.
satisfying way to end a game. And we'll see. I think this shows the good ending, which I think the good ending was very satisfying. The bad endings, not so much. But yeah, essentially the good ending to this game is you basically become a father figure for the little sisters and they get to basically have a life and fall in love, and it basically implies they're with you at your bedside when you die, like you got to have a family. When the bad ending is you what was it, I think you kill them or you turn them into like splicers, because like the Navy shows up and you come up with like a submarine with a nuclear bomb on it and kill like the Navy guys who show up.
I need to go watch the bad endings. Both time I've played this now, I did the good ending. So I
Here,
need to go watch the bad
Bioshock
ones.
bad ending. I'll bring it up on stream.
I'm curious how they actually led normal lives without like extreme therapy.
So yeah, here's that ending. Apparently, the 2 bad endings are pretty similar. I watched them both earlier today. But yeah, you see, like the Navy's here, trying to figure out what's going on, and a submarine just comes to the surface. or I guess a bunch of those pods. And I'm pretty sure those are little sisters jumping out, slicing them up.
I mean, the outside world knows about this place, right? I
And
mean,
then
it's
you
not like
see
they
a
just
new.
snuck down there.
That's where I'm not sure what's implied. I would assume they do, but it kind of seems like Rapture is kind of like they broke off and did their own thing. I don't know enough about the lore to essentially know how aware the outside world is. But you think they would
Also
have to.
curious. I'm curious how Atlas arranged, or how Frank arranged for you to like leave and hijack a plane and come back. Like, I know he can use the phrase, but that's still like a pretty difficult series of events to pull off.
Especially the plane crash.
Well,
Would you kindly crash a plane exactly right here? Like, how does that
yeah,
work?
the fact he didn't die is pretty funny. Like if you think about
Yeah,
it too
also
hard.
don't would you kindly not die during the plane crash? But everyone else.
um, but that is Bioshock. So I guess what's everyone's final thoughts about playing the game and the game in general?
Well, I can go first. So I played all three Bioshock games, and like I said, after killing Andrew Ryan, I think the level design and the fun factor kinda dips a bit. So this is my least favorite Bioshock game, but that not to say it's a bad game. I really like this, and it was a really fun time replaying it. So good story, mostly good level design, some aged gunplay, but overall, very good game. And if you find it interesting after listening to this, I totally recommend playing it for yourself if you haven't done so.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would say for its time, it had one of the best narratives and art, sort of, I guess the soft side of the game. And I think that mostly holds up. Obviously, the actual mechanics are pretty dated, even though I mean it was built on Unreal Engine, so the actual graphics hold up pretty well. Um, yeah, I think it's worthwhile to play it just to experience the story. Um, because I feel like a lot of games that came after Bioshock knew that they were kind of like their stories were going to have to, stack up to it and be measured against it. So I think just on that sort of metric alone, it's worth playing through.
Thought it was really cool. I know I liked it originally, and it held up pretty well, other than, you know, some of it's a little clunky, like we went over with just dumb things, switching ammo types, switching between plasmids and guns. But the story, the art direction, I mean, really just, I think the story is what sticks with you. Like, that's what I remember most from my original playthrough. And uh, I made a point to like pick up as many of those tape recorder things as I could this time around, because I know through in my original playthrough I was probably more running and gunning. But yeah, like, you really need to pick those up, and it really helps embellish things. And it, yeah. Now I know I beat the second game. I don't remember much, but I definitely know I enjoyed Infinite. So I don't know if that means I didn't like the second one or the story wasn't as memorable. I honestly I mean, I guess it wasn't as memorable. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Well, if that helps you, I don't remember the story of the second game. I just remember the level design and all that were just more. What gonna say? More stable, if you will.
There's one part I remember from the second one, and I guess I won't say it, but you see things differently during this one part in the game. And that part I remember, but the rest of the game I don't remember anything that happens. Kind of weird.
And yeah, for me, it is a game that I felt was enjoyable. I do think, as we were touching on before, there's aspects that just haven't aged the best when it comes to like shooters, kind of swapping between. I feel like if this was made today, you'd be able to have your gun out and push a button to like use a power, and you wouldn't have to like go back and forth. Which I think doesn't the second one have where you can use like two powers at once, or like a gun and a power? I could be misremembering. Um, but regardless, agree with Vinny. For me, the story is what sticks out the most. And the main characters you kind of talk with and deal with, uh, are what is gonna be something I compare other games to. I enjoy this game. I would recommend it to people who haven't played it. Um, even with the frustration I would have at times and some of the flaws I think it has, it still holds up well enough to play. And it's still interesting and fun. And again, it's not a super long game. I would say play it at normal. I'd be interested to try and play it on hard now, but I do know as a first time player going on hard, it was extra frustrating, especially early on when you first are fighting big daddies. Um, but yeah, it definitely is something I would recommend you look into. Um, uh, Something I want to start bringing in some of these segment ideas I have. So one thing I want to bring up. So we've done, I believe, 3 shooters for EXP Monthly: Shogo, Fear, and Bioshock. For those of you who've played all 3, or even if you haven't, if you can still obviously have an opinion, which do you think is the best shooter? Which one do you prefer the most? If you had a year from now, you have to play one of those 3. Which are you picking, and why?
Like the best the best game or the
Aside,
best
which
shooter? Because I have different answers.
the best shooter?
I think
Basically, a year from now, you have to play one of those 3. Which of these are you picking?
we'll see that's two different. Fear has the most fun shooting mechanics
All
with
right.
the slow mo and the different gun types and the AI. Just yeah, the gunplay in that, as far as shooters go, I think wins out. But the the art direction and story of Bioshock, I think, beats it by a mile. So I guess it depends what you're going for.
All right. So I guess what?
That's my answer.
No, you have to. Obviously, you just played Bioshock, so it wouldn't be like right now. But a year from now, I guess which one of those do you think you'd replay? Like of those 3 games, which are you most likely to play again next? A year or 5 years from now?
I don't know. I've
Gun
beaten
to
them
your
both
head.
twice at this point.
Gun
Yeah.
to your head.
I would say Fear, but that's, I think, because such a big part of Bioshock is the story, and it has a lot more impact having not played it before. If I I would say if all things were equal and I like was going to sit down and decide to play Fear for the first time or decide to play Bioshock for the first time, I would take Bioshock. But having played both of them recently, I think Fear focuses a lot more on the moment-to-moment gunplay, and that I think wins out. Yeah, I think Fear is the better shooter.
Well, out of those three, I have only played Bioshock, so it's a pretty easy answer to your question.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, for me, as much as I think I enjoyed Bioshock, Fear has a funness that is just hard for me to not recommend. I think if like someone hadn't played shooters before, not only is Fear probably easier because it has like less mechanics and stuff, but I think Fear is like of those the one I would want to go back to first and be like, hey, you haven't played any of these three games, play this one first. Um, and I do think bicycle kicking and slow mo is just hard to beat. Like that's a mechanic that every shooter just should have. Like let's be honest.
I think they do give you the Big Daddy giant drill in the second game. Not in the first one though. But the Big Daddy drill is pretty fun.
And I'm assuming no, but I want to ask this every once in a while. It won't be everything, but has anyone replayed a previous game that was an EXP Monthly at all? Also in chat, feel free to chime in.
Can you repeat that, please?
Have you replayed a game that was previously an EXP Monthly at all? I'm assuming no, because we haven't been doing this too long, but
You mean like since you started?
yeah, like
This
has
whole-
anyone went
Yeah,
back and played
like replaying
Fear,
Fear or
Fable, and when you like go back and try
I-
and finish a game after it was done?
There's games I would like to play through that I didn't, but no, I haven't gone back yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I still want to go back and play Fable a little bit more and try and like 100% it, but we'll see. So, with that said, currently we're on February and we have a Taylor in chat, and this was one game that he had been requesting, but we do have KOTOR for this month, Knights of the Old Republic. Is anyone in chat and in this call playing it? And if so, how far are you in it?
Yes, I just started playing it. It would have been 2 days ago, so this weekend. It was a big struggle to get the game working. Like I tried playing it for the first time, like I think last weekend, and I just couldn't get it to work. And so I was like, well, I'll come back and try it again. And I've poked at it a couple of times, but I'm still on the first planet in the game, which is Terrace. So I think I'm like 3-ish hours in, basically.
So I've been playing it. I got it. I was like Blue. I basically trying to get it run on PC. It would run, but trying to get it run at better resolution and then fix the HUD. I was having a lot of issues. I got an hour or so in, and finally it's just like I want a turnkey solution. So I bought actually yeah. I just looked it up on Switch and it was like $30. I just bought the Heritage Collection, they call it, and it has the first and second one and a couple other Star Wars games. So I'm gonna restart it on Switch just so it's turnkey and I don't have to keep messing around with it. So I got restarted. I got about a little less than 2 hours in, I believe. But hopefully I'll start trekking through that here this week. Taylor looks like he's on the first planet, second area.
I was just checking if I owned it on anything, and it seems that I somehow don't. I haven't played it before.
So it is.
You'd think with my library of games, I would have it in one of these platforms, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, it is one of those games that I've been meaning to play for a long time, just because I've heard from so many people that its story is like the best Star Wars story, even compared to the movies, and it's just like fantastic. So, and I'm not a big Star Wars person. That's probably part of the reason I've never went like actually played it yet. But I have a couple friends that it's the first one is like their favorite game of all time. So we'll see how it holds up. I just hear the writing and the characters are fantastic. So my bar is set pretty high. I have pretty high expectations for the narrative. It is an early 2000s game though. It's like D&D 3.5 converted to Star Wars. So it's pretty interesting.
Wait a minute. I do have it on Steam. Am I blind?
Are you blind?
Okay, I guess I do own it.
All right, now you have to play it or you get banned.
Oh,
That's fair.
What about you, Shadow? Are you sending this one out or are you going to try and play it?
If I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I'm not very much of a graphic snob, but it's just something about early PC games like that that doesn't really appeal to me. And I'm not a big Star Wars guy, and I don't own the game, so
Oh yeah, I guess not
I'll
owning
be
it.
sitting this one out.
Yeah, because you can
Wasn't
get it.
there a remake in the works or something? Or did that
Yes,
get cancelled?
it got canceled, then it got started again, and it's being headed by like the original design lead, I believe.
Oh, so it got the Metroid Prime Ford.
I think, but even better, because I think it's the original like BioWare head is working on it.
Isn't BioWare in a weird spot now?
Yeah, it's not BioWare working on it though. It's a new studio, I think, founded by the original BioWare lead.
Right.
But
Then I get you.
Yeah, it definitely has those old graphics. It was originally, I know, an Xbox exclusive, though I think it came out on PC at the same time or shortly after. But because it's almost more known for being like an Xbox One game, the first two.
Really? Because I thought that was a PC exclusive all this time.
Everyone I know who played it back in the day, they had it on Xbox.
It says it requires Windows XP or Vista, so I can power up one of my old machines and put it on there.
Yeah, you can make a video on it.
I already have two in the pipeline that I'm not making, so
so three's the magic number. Yeah, if you can play in modern hardware, what I think probably is the best solution if you do is use Steam and force it in windowed mode and just play it in its highest native resolution, like 1600 by 900 or whatever. There are mods that are, but I was just having issues getting the mods to work. But yeah, then after KOTOR, we have Metal Gear Solid won the vote for March. So I'm excited to check that out again. I'm gonna play the GameCube remake of that, Twin Snakes, but that is on about every platform now. You can play it on GOG. They did the HD remasters or the OG PS1. And the month after that, we're going back to the JRPG to do Final Fantasy VI. And I think we'll throw for the month after that, we'll throw it up to, I think I'll do another thing where I'll let someone from the community pick the game. So keep a lookout in chat, and just people can react to a post, and then I'll pick someone at random to pick a game for, what would that be? March, April, July, or May. I know my months. It should be Minecraft.
Borderlands
May.
2 co-op. I mean, we're doing Minecraft anyway, but I hope. Are we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dave has that locked in all the time. Which that's probably something I can talk to you about off stream, Vinny. If we want to just use your server, just set up for Minecraft May, or we can just hijack Blues as normal.
Whatever. I don't have as many cool mods. I mean, I have general admin powers, but then I can res myself. I like this plan.
No, you're banned.
Nope.
But all right, everyone. Is there anything anyone wants to add before we go? Oh, the last thing I was gonna do is, because I know Vinny won't promote himself, subscribe and like Mr. Vinny C on Twitch. He likes to stream his feet and occasionally Zelda, but mostly his feet.
Hey, I'm still setting up my emotes and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta get back in there.
So once I get those
and spam how many new emotes you have. He loves it when you just spam stuff so his stream is unwatchable.
I mean, I think it's funny. So, yes.
But check out Vinny C. He also has a YouTube. He puts out a video once every like 6 months, like me.
Well, thank you, sir.
Well, K Percente wanted to know the Jesus song, so Jesus loves me, this I know. There you go. Just for you, K Percente.
And then it's followed by a shotgun blast. But all right. Well, appreciate everyone taking part as usual. And looking forward to do some KOTOR. We should have Billy joining us too, Blue. Because Billy, KOTOR is his favorite game. So I messaged him about it, and he is gonna play it. And hopefully we will make the KOTOR podcast. But yep, thanks for hanging out, everyone, and have a good evening or night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.